Why was Instagram worth $1 billion? I posted on the TechCrunch article about Facebook buying Instagram that nothing built by 6 people is worth $1 billion unless that thing is Cold Fusion, Sex in a Bottle, or a select other set of things. But basically, anything that 6 people can build, the technology itself is not worth $1 billion. There might be certain exceptions, Tesla, Thomas Edison both came up with some great patents that might have been worth $1 billion. And the guy at AT&T that wrote the patent for text-to-speech and speech-to-text has probably made back $1 billion, and so his one thing and his small team that invented Vox is probably worth $1 billion. So there's some exceptions. However, the reason that Instagram was worth $1 billion to Facebook wasn't because Instagram was worth $1 billion to Facebook. It was because Instagram was worth about $500 million to Twitter. Now, that's more money than what Twitter could have spent on it, but Instagram probably would have taken $75 million and been pretty happy with an offer from Twitter, especially since they were at the point that they were still basically 8 employees working out of a small office with no good revenue stream and huge operating costs because they're hosting all of these pictures. Facebook could have built an Instagram probably in about the equivalent of a business day, tested it in a business day, and done the press release on the 3rd business day, and because they would have been integrated with Facebook, had 75% of Instagram's users day one, and probably could have held most of those. So they could have basically put Instagram out of business overnight. And because the primary consumer of Instagram photos is Facebook, for the most part, Instagram didn't bring anybody new into the Facebook fold. That wouldn't have been true for Twitter. Twitter users would have benefited from having that photo in replacing TwitPic or any of the other technologies that are out there, and probably could have made Twitter more Facebook-like, which is something that you're starting to see Twitter wants to do. It wants to have that high engagement level, always on social network feel, and stop being the IRC chat that it has been for so long. Twitter gained popularity for being the 140 character short word quick conversation thing, but as people are starting to use Facebook and Twitter and those types of technologies with public timelines and such, Facebook is sucking away many of the people who were using Twitter, because let's face it, if you don't have 100,000 followers on Twitter, nobody sees your stuff, and most of your friends aren't on Twitter 24 hours a day, so if you make a small comment, nobody sees it. Whereas Facebook, it has some longevity, and if they have chosen to get all of your updates or are truly interested in what you're saying, they're going to see it. Or if you've got mutual friends, the conversation that happens on Facebook, being nice and threaded, is going to pull you in and give your posts a longer lifespan. And that is what's driving a lot of people to move from Twitter to Facebook. And so Facebook needs to keep Twitter from becoming Facebook. And one easy way to do that is preemptively buy the technologies that would most make sense for Twitter to buy in order to prevent that. And so the $1 billion price tag was because Facebook wanted to make sure that Twitter didn't get Instagram, and they wanted to do it fast. And so Mark said, we're going to close this deal in 48 hours. And if you're going to close a deal like that in 48 hours, you're going to have to go to the table with a big number. Now, I think that the Instagram guys would have sold at 500 million, but probably getting the investors to move and make it so that it wasn't publicly talked about and so that everything could just happen quickly, they probably needed to pick a really big number, and it needed to be a nice round number. there's something about saying $1 billion as opposed to saying $800 million or $750 million or $750 million. You know, that round number has that psychological ability to get somebody to take something. You know, it's like if I walked up to you and offered you $100,000 cash for your house may not be worth, you know, that much off of that. You know, you'd be looking at a $150,000 house, and if somebody walked up with $100,000 in a suitcase and showed it to you, you might take it because you'd never seen that much money in one place in one time. And I have a feeling that there was a large portion of that shock value of being able to say it's $1 billion. And if Facebook paid twice what they should have, they don't really care at this point. They've got enough money laying around, they could do those kinds of things. So Instagram wasn't purchased for its technology, it wasn't purchased for its users, it was purchased as an attack on Twitter. And in my view, that shouldn't be legal. You know, Facebook is starting to become a monopoly, and as it approaches IPO, it should be subject to a lot of those SEC rules. It doesn't seem to be. It's been able to skirt them in the past. So Facebook apparently can do what it wants, but in this particular case, the story was really keeping it out of the competitor's hand rather than it was a good investment. So we may never even see Instagram come to light as part of a Facebook application. It may or may not, but they didn't need the technology. And the people that are like, oh, I don't know why Google didn't make a counteroffer. Well, Google wasn't going to buy something that 6 guys built that runs on an iDevice. You know, it just wasn't going to happen. So Instagram's only choices for people to buy it were going to be Twitter and Facebook. And Facebook wasn't going to let Twitter have it.